G'day guys, hope you're all doing well. We're going to try out a new format. Mark from Biker Bits told me to do this an awful long time ago and I just never got around to it. My wife has also been at me to do this as well. And a few of you have asked in the comment section along the way. I'm going to be doing the Q&A like usual, answering some of your questions, but I'm also going to be doing some behind the scenes, so show you how the shed progress is going and also just showing you what I'm doing on the property and giving you little updates on what's going on bike-wise as well. So let's get into it. Bike-wise, it's an awful shame. As I've stated before, I'm really struggling to get out on the bike at the moment just because of the demands of having a newborn. Hopefully that will change as she grows and develops and gets a sleep pattern and we figure our stuff out. So hopefully not too much longer. I was planning on getting a bigger tank, the Acerbis 14 litre, but I think I'm going to be pushing that to at least the end of the year because it just doesn't make sense at the moment. Other modifications, I'm kind of on the fence about getting an exhaust. Do I go with the Arrow exhaust that I thought about getting? I'm kind of enjoying on one side having the quieter exhaust when I'm out on the trails. That way I'm not annoying the hikers. It really has rubbed people the wrong way. In some ways, the quieter exhaust is actually nicer. Also, the drone is a lot less at high speeds on the highways. I'm kind of on the fence at the moment. I'll let you know how I go with that decision as well. But otherwise, really no modifications other than I do have highway dirt bike handguards to be fitting to this bike very soon. They sent me out a pair and I'm really excited to get them on because they're my favorite handguards. How's the garage build going? Well, I'm glad you asked, mate, because there's been a lot going on. So let's head outside and I'll update you on how the shed build is going. So it was a big day yesterday. They came and finally did the massive retaining wall, which I had to get planning, then building approval from the council. I had to get certification for engineering. I also had to get a survey and drafting done on it. So it was a lot of work to get this up, and this is what was holding up the shed. So now it is in, which is absolutely amazing. I'm really happy with how it came up. This is basically the last thing that needed to be done before I can move forward with the shed, which only needs building approval from the council. So we're really moving forward now, which is fantastic. And I think this came up looking pretty damn good. I'd love to know what you guys think. So as far as how the shed setup is going to go, you can see I've started removing some of the fence here and up there for access to get in. All of this fence is going where all this pile of crap is. That's actually going to be a driveway. And these two stakes are the corners of the front of the shed with a roller door. And then all the way over here at the back, you can see those two stakes at the back. That's where the shed ends. So that is going to be the shed. It's going to be 6 meters by 4 meters and 2.7 meters high, with not including the roof. With the roof, it's just over 3 meters, I believe. I've also chucked in a rainwater tank recently, 3,700 liters. There will probably be a few other rainwater tanks put on the property later that we're going to run the irrigation off. Most of you guys will understand clean drinking water, as well as being able to save on water costs on the bills, as well as just having a backup. You never know when you're going to need water. The other thing we've been doing is just planting fruit trees. So fig, mandarin, random unknown citrus, lime, pomegranate, peach down the back there, all the way down the back, mulberry, apricot, and lemon tree as well there. All these posts behind me is a chicken run. We've got chickens at our old property still waiting to be moved to the new place. So I'm trying to get everything done, but as you can see, I've got a lot on the boil. I also knocked up this little wood shed kind of thing with all the scrap wood and the bits of patio plastic that I had lying around and all recycled screws. I love using all old and recycled stuff to make new things. So this was great. The next question is from Brad Quiggin. He's saying, when looking at a second-hand lightweight 250 300cc, what are the worst or obvious signs of a potential lemon? Scratches don't seem to tell the story. Yes, that's right, mate. Don't get caught up with looking for scratches on off-road bikes, considering they're going to spend a lot of their time sliding down the gravel or on rocks and dirt. So fluids is a big one. Check the fluid levels and the quality of the fluid. I don't mean the brand, I just mean the state of the fluids. You really want to take the fuel cap off and inspect the quality of the fuel. You can generally smell it. If it doesn't smell like fresh petrol, like when you're filling up, that can be a sign that it's been sitting there and not too cared for. But more importantly, look for rust inside. But generally just check all around the engine where the seals, where things are fastened on, for oil leaks. The next one to have a look at is the suspension. Check where the handlebars sit in relation to the front wheel as well. Everything lines up and is straight, but also check the seals on the suspension. Is there any seepage or leaks? in there from the fork oil. See if it's been well maintained. That's what you're looking for here, that a motorcycle has been loved and cared for. Have a look at the brakes as a whole. Check out the brake pads if you can get the right angle. See how much pad is left there. If they're completely worn down to the metal, then that's a good sign that they just don't care. If they were just worn a lot, that isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just means that the seller's probably trying to foot on the cost for you as they're trying to sell it anyway. Have a look for hairline cracks on the rotors, but also look for any warping. A lot of the other ones are really just running and maintenance. So check the air filter. Is it clean? Has it been maintained? Check if any dust has actually made it through the filter and into the intake itself. Other things like the sprockets and the chain, check that they're not worn, that they're nicely cleaned and oiled. Also just check the wiring. If it's an absolute rat nest, that's a sign that there's been heavy modification and it's not been done too professionally. Check out the quality of the hoses as well, whether they're old and deteriorating, because that means it could be a future problem. When running the bike as well, check for excessive smoke or blue smoke. You don't want to see those things. If it's really difficult to start, that's another sign that you could have problems that you can't really see. Another clearly obvious one is loud ticking or knocking sounds. If you hear anything like that, it's a big potential that something in the engine is not right. And of course, I need to point out, check the service history. So the next comment is from Larry saying, another solid video. Cheers, mate. Have been watching your videos for a couple of years. Thanks for the support. You still downplay your off-road skills. Surely you have improved considerably since then. What is your level of riding now? Well, it's really a subjective thing, but I would say at the end of 2017 was when I was at the peak of my skill level before I got sick. And I would say I was in the middle of intermediate, but I was doing a lot of single track, was very confident and really making leaps and bounds in my riding. But since then, I've kind of got knocked back to novice, taking it a bit slower with my health slowly recovering. But definitely I do downplay my skill levels. I'm not the fastest rider. I do just enjoy seeing the scenery, but I also like having fun. So I kind of sit just at the lower bounds of the intermediate rider. I'm kind of slow and steady, but I'll take on any challenge and I always get to the end of the ride. Some guys are way faster than me, but they spend their time falling off an awful lot more and basically risk a whole lot of injuries that I just don't want, because I've already had them all and I'm really just looking to enjoy myself and come back home to my young family. The next question's from Dave. He's saying, it's been a year, so do you still love it? And is it the unicorn you thought it would be? Well, I'll try and keep this one short because I've done so many videos on this bike, but it's actually been almost 2 years and I do still absolutely love the crap out of the Little Red Pig. And is it the unicorn I thought it would be? Absolutely, it's the perfect bike for my skill levels. Now that is also because I've upgraded the suspension, which has really unlocked the capability, but it's also because it's just a reliable bike that starts every time. So I haven't ridden much in the last 6 months. It just sits on the trickle charger. It's a real shame, but every time I do hop on it, it starts first time, no problems. It's just always waiting happily in the garage for me. But yes, it is the absolute unicorn for me. It does everything from single track to long trips, sits on the highway fine and does the commute. So it does everything I ask of it. Again, I'm not a super quick or super professional rider, so it's just the perfect ideal novice dual sport. So I'm so happy with the bike. So I can't say enough good things about it. But again, completely subjective, so keep that in mind. I hope you like this different format. Let me know down below whether you just want to see in the future the pure Q&A so that I get through more questions, or whether you like what Mark suggested to me, more of this behind the scenes kind of style where I answer some questions and then I show you what's going on in the background, motorcycle wise, and generally what's going on in my life. And as always, guys, don't forget to stay shiny side up, and I'll see you in the next one.